detective sergeant. They're assigned a robbery detail. A lone bandit robs a jewelry store in broad daylight. He takes $5,000 in precious stones. He's reckless. He's well armed. Your job? Get him. Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action. It's Tuesday, December 2nd. It's chilly in Los Angeles. We're working a day watch at a robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Gideon. My name's Friday. It was 1:48 p.m. when I got to the basement of the city hall. The car please.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah, right. Hi, Jim. This is from Douglas, is that right? Yeah. Better take Beverly Boulevard out, huh? Right. Want to get the radio? Yeah, all right. No report yet? No, he got away on foot. He headed down 6th Street after the holdup, lost himself in the crowd. Better watch it, then. Oh, yeah. How'd the thief work it? Did you get the store? Well, there's not much to tell. He walked in the store at the right time, pointed a gun, grabbed a tray full of diamond rings, and walked out. $5,000. Figured he must have had the jewelry store pretty well cased. Sounds like he's had practice. Well, could be. But sure, one thing, he's well armed.
Attention, all units. At 3rd and Victor. 3rd and Victor.
You get it up, huh? Yeah.
Man with a gun. All units at 3rd and Victor. Traffic accident. A man with a gun. Code green. emergency 7.
Well, if we can roll on it, huh? Right, that's big to get to him. Yeah, I'll call in. 80K to control 1. 80K to control 1.
Control 1 to 80K. Go ahead.
80K out for investigation. 3rd and Victor. Emergency 67.
Roger 80K. Code 6 to 3rd and Victor. Emergency 7.
That must be it up ahead, Joe. Yeah. Right in the middle of the intersection there, the car turned over, huh? Mm-hmm. Let's ought to do it? Yeah, let's go. Man, stretched out on the street over there, he's sure. Yeah. I wonder if we can get through here, please. Excuse me, please. Let us through, please. So let's don't just stand around looking. If somebody call the police yet, excuse me. You involved in this? Sure, I was in it. Did anybody call the police? What police officers? What happened? Oh, I'm sure glad to see you. Awful lot of trouble. Yeah. How about this man here? What happened? Oh, I slugged him. I had to. What do you mean? Well, I don't know what happened. He went a little crazy, I guess. He pulled this gun on me. How is he, Joe? He's got a bump on the head. He seems to be all right otherwise. What's your name, sir? Ernie Brooks. That truck over there, that's what I was driving. I was coming down 3rd Street, and I stopped at the red light over there. That corner over there? Yeah. And when the light turned green, I started across the intersection. This guy laying here came barreling down big, so went right through the red light, hit the front of my truck. Flipped his car right over on the side, just like a shoot. Yeah, go ahead. The guy went a little crazy, I guess. Right after the crack-up, I pulled the truck to the curb and got out. This fella here was just climbing out of the top side of his car. Didn't seem hurt at all. Yeah, huh? Well, when he saw me coming over to him, he pulled a gun and pointed it at me. Then he turned and started running. I couldn't figure it out. What'd you do? Well, as soon as he turned his back to him, I went for him and tackled him. Fought like a tiger. That's why I say I slugged him. I had to, officer. There's something awful funny about the whole thing. Wait a minute. Well, look here. There's spots right here. It fell out of his coat when I slugged him. You take a look. Yeah? Here. Must be 3-4 dozen in there. Rings, all kinds. Yeah. Looks like diamonds in them, doesn't it? The ambulance arrived, and we took the unconscious fuel robbery suspect to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. After he was revived and treated for cuts and bruises, we took him back to the city hall at the interrogation room. He fitted the description of the jewelry store bandit almost exactly. He refused to talk. He wouldn't even give us his name. We had his fingerprints taken, and then we had them checked through R&I. The man was identified as Vernon Albert Nicoli, an ex-convict out of Folsom and a 2-time loser. He served 1 5-year term for armed robbery and another 3 years for ADW. We checked out the wrecked car he'd been driving and found out that it had been stolen 2 blocks from the scene of the holdup. We had the manager of the jewelry store which had been robbed brought downtown. He identified Nicoli as the bandit. The suspect still refused to talk. Ben and I took him to the main jail, where he was booked on suspicion of 211 BC. 4:15 p.m. We checked back in at the office. Takes some of them a long time to learn. Yeah, two-time loser. This one ought to finish him. I can't figure. He's been out of post in 7 months and going right back in again. Yeah. Well, we can get the complaint from the DA tomorrow and set the arraignment for Thursday. Yeah. Maybe check with the manager of the jewelry store first. Wonder if Nicoli could have been in those gas station holdup, remember? Last month? Yeah. Well, we'll have him in the show up Thursday and see what happens. You want to take care of the arrest report? Yeah, I'll get out an APB, too. Might turn up some outside jobs on him. I'm feeling hungry. You still got that candy bar from lunch? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, here you go. Uh-huh. What's the matter with you lately, anyway? I don't know. Been eating like a horse, down the stomach. Outside. I'll get it. What do you got, Joe? Just a minute. Oh, that does it. What? Nicoli. He escaped. A broadcast and an all-points bulletin were gotten out on Vernon Nicoli. All units in the vicinity of the escape were alerted. An hour passed. There was no report on the suspect. We checked with the main jail and got the details on the escape. They told us that while Nicoli was being locked up in his cell, he pushed his fingers into the door jamb and had them badly mashed when the cell door closed on them. Both of Nicoli's wrists were then handcuffed, and along with 2 other ailing suspects, he was taken over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital by a pair of transportation officers. Going up the stairs to the hospital, Nicoli had turned suddenly, kicked one of the officers in the stomach, slugged the other one, and escaped. It happened at about 4:14 p.m. By 11 o'clock that night, there wasn't a trace of the suspect. 7:30 the next morning, Ben and I checked back in for work. Nicoli was still at large. Overnight report, Joe. Have a look. What do you got? Yeah. Liquor store. Gas station. Mm-hmm. Another liquor store. All 3 of them held up between midnight and 2 a.m. Take a look at the bank description. WMA, 5 feet 950 pounds. Medium build, dark wages, hairy black eyes, fair complexion, deep scar on chin. How about? Well, he didn't waste time getting started again, did he? A pretty big come down if it's Nicoli. Diamond theft to liquor store. Well, he had to do something. He didn't have any clothes, no money. How about that car he used on those jobs? Stolen. Recovered early this morning. They're going over to print. So now, Joe? Gibby? Get on this one right away, will you? Just had to call a minute ago. What's that? Here's the name and address. Matthew Hobbs. He runs a candy store near one of the grade schools over in Boyle Heights. He might be able to tell you something. Yeah, about what? Nicoli. Saw him last night. We got in the car and drove over to the Boyle Heights district where we located Matthew Hobbs' place of business. It was a small store on Delray Avenue, 1 block from the neighborhood grammar school. The sign out in front read, New Geneva Candy Parlor and Variety Store. There was the usual display in the window. A wind-up train, a few inexpensive dolls, pencils, writing tablets, and some crepe paper. Inside, the main attraction was 2 long showcases filled with a variety of penny candy. There was a small soda fountain at the rear of the store, topped with a slab of worn marble. Matthew Hobbs was a small, thin man. He looked to be in his mid-60s. He sat behind one of the counters filling cellophane bags with Christmas candy while he talked to us. We asked him about Nicoli. Yes, that's right. Vernon was here last night. About 10 o'clock, 10:15, no later. You want me to help him? Did you know Nicoli that well, Mr. Hobbs? As well as I know most of the kids who grew up around here. Yes, I guess I knew him well. So what did he ask for in the way of help? His money, clothes. He got no family left. I guess I was the only one he thought to come to. Mm-hmm. Well, how is it that you didn't notify us sooner, Mr. Hobbs? I knew you'd ask. I'd like to explain if I could. Yes, sir, please. Could you hand me that stack of bags there, Sergeant? Yeah. This? No, the number 2. Yeah, those, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, here you are. Thank you. As I said, he knocked on my back door about 10 o'clock, and I let him in. I said, just like an animal. Some kind of crazy animal. Let me see. Did he have handcuffs on? Yeah, but the chain connecting him was broken. It made me file off each handcuff. Yeah. I wouldn't do it at first. I had no idea what was going on. He said he'd kill me if I didn't help him. He kept threatening me. I never saw Vernon like that before. Mm-hmm. Go on, Pete. You know, Sergeant, I knew that boy when he was in grammar school right up the street there. Makes you sit down and think sometimes, huh? Where they grow up and change. Yes, sir. Well, what happened after you took the cuffs off of him? Then he got out of his jail clothes and put on one of my suits. Took what I had in my wallet, $12, and then he kept running around until he found my gun. He took that with him, too. Well, didn't you think of calling for help? Not the way he acted, Sergeant. Just like a crazy animal. He'd have killed me if I'd tried anything. He warned me not to tell anybody he was here. Said he'd come back and kill me if I did. Well, I waited this morning and I called the police. You said McCauley took a gun from you, Mr. Howden. What kind of a gun was it? 32 automatic. A Colt. I've had it for years. I have it registered with you people. He took just what he pleased. Clothes, gun, money. If you want the truth, Sergeant, I just wasn't brave enough to try to stop him. Well, when McCauley left here, did you notice if he had a car? No, he left on foot. Walked across the street and went down that way, towards town. I don't know. I don't suppose you'll get too far. I hope not. Do you have any idea who he might try to contact? Some of his old friends, his relatives? No, he doesn't have any folks I know of. Terrible thing, isn't it? Kids growing up. Well, the way they change, like McCauley. I can understand them when they're kids. Seen hundreds of them come through here. Know what they're thinking, how they feel. Kind of a hobby. I understand kids. Yes, sir. The trouble is they grow up. All of a sudden they stop being kids. Yes, sir. I don't understand them after that. After we left the candy store, we went back to the office and got out a supplementary APB containing a description of the suspect's clothing and the gun that he'd stolen. Together with Gonzalez and Pena from robbery, Ben and I checked all of McCauley's known friends and his usual hangout. Stakeouts were placed. We got nowhere. The late evening holdups continued. Each of the victims identified McCauley as the bandit. He used the same M.O. in each case. They worked only on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. He'd steal a car, pull 3 holdups in the same general area within an hour, abandon the car in the same area, and then disappear. 2 weeks passed, and then a month. The weekend robberies went on. In the most recent hold-up victims, we found out that McCauley had picked up a partner. We checked the man's description through his staff's office. Each of the stolen cars used by the suspects and then abandoned were checked for prints. We failed to identify the second man. The hold-ups continued. McCauley and his partner were still at large. Monday, January 26, 8:30 a.m. Ben and I met with Captain Didion. What's the count, Skipper? The usual. 3 hold-ups Friday, 3 Saturday, 3 Sunday. He's proved his point. He's consistent. Now, when do you blow the whistle on him? We're doing everything that can be done. Stakeouts, extra units on duty. Not enough. The corner pocket wants some results. They want them fast. How about the times listed for the 3 stick-ups last night? Have they been double-checked? No, correct. There's something else for you. Figure it out. What is it, Joe? Oh, let's see. The drugstore out in West Hollywood robbed at 11:14 p.m. Yeah? All right, now this one. Coffee shop out in the valley. Robbed at 11:21 p.m. Both of them the same M.O., same everything. Well, it doesn't figure. They couldn't have made it from the spot in West Hollywood out to the valley in 7 minutes. It's not possible. There's a report. Check it. I know, but how could they do it? There must be some way to work out the answer. There's got to be. I can give you a shortcut, you know. McCauley. Find him. Another 2 weeks passed, and then 2 weeks more. Besides the extra men and units put in service on weekends, 2 dozen separate stakeouts were established in areas where we figured McCauley and his accomplice would strike. Didn't help much. The holdups continued. There was only one difference. The description of the bandit didn't jive anymore. We still didn't have an answer to the superhuman speed that the 2 gunmen seemed to show and robbing victims at widely separated points, all within a short period of time. We stayed on it. Friday, February 21st. Ben and I took our turn on night stakeout in a vacant store on Sunset Boulevard. We were assigned to cover a drugstore and a bar directly across the street. We spent 2 weekends on the job. It was quiet. Nothing happened. The 3rd weekend was no different. One thing's for sure. We never have any luck taking stakeout. No, we won't. This empty store must be the draftiest place in town. Oh, no, we've had worse. What time we got? 5 past midnight. A little band over in the bar. Sure earn your money, don't you? Allowed anyway. Sure, Buck. Have a look. Getting out of that car down the street there, see? Oh, yeah, they're heading for the bar. What do you think? Both got dark hair. About the same bill. Sounds like they're in a hurry. They're going in the bar. Oh, come on. Come on, we better hurry. That's it. Come on. All right, throw down the gun. Look out! All right, hold it. Throw down your gun. Now, come on, hands behind your head. All right, hold it right there. Come on your feet. You all right, Ben? Yeah. You had a good point. Well, that's both of them. That wraps it up, huh? Well, you better look again. Huh? Neither one of them, Nicole.
You are listening to Dragnet, a series of authentic case histories documented from official files.
Many of our corporate customers are worried about employees going wild purchasing office supplies. StaplesLink.com allows them to set up workflow approvals and gives them more control over purchases. StaplesLink.com and IBM are bringing office supplies and office management together. I'm Anne Marie Keene of StaplesLink.com, Vice President of Business-to-Business e-commerce. Staples Link took a great idea, a giant step forward. Staples revolutionized the office supply industry with the Superstore.
Saturday, February 22nd. Ben and I took the two robbery suspects downtown to the city hall to the interrogation room. We checked them through R&I and found that they both had records for burglary and grand theft auto. The car that they'd been using that night had been stolen. After 2.5 hours of interrogation, one of the suspects, a P. Albanese, decided to break down and cooperate. 1 a.m., the interrogation room.
I get something out of it, don't I? Helping you. You know, don't forget to help you when you get me in court.
Most people know about the street and be making our report. Now, what's your story?
I knew I never should have went for it. Believe me, it won't happen again. McCauley, he talked me into it.
Talked into what, Pete?
Helping him out on stick-ups. I was his partner in his first one.
After he broke through?
Yeah, that's right. He came to me with a foolproof system of his. I was sucker enough to go for it.
How long did you work with him?
Just a couple of weekends. 3, 4, maybe. I didn't get along with him. No, nobody gets along with him. He's a little crazy, I think.
Who's working with him now?
Oh, I don't know. He's had 2, 3 different guys. I don't know who's with him. Say, Sergeant, can I have a drink of water, please?
All right, I'll get you some, Pete.
How about the way Nicole works? 3 or 4 robberies a night all over town. A lot of guys working, that's all.
You mean they all keep it the same way, huh?
Yeah, sure. When I left them, I went on my own. I picked up a partner and used their system. Pretty good one, huh? Well, it looked like a good one, anyway.
You mean working on the weekends, picking up a hot car, dropping it fast?
Yeah, you got it. There must be half a dozen guys in this town working the system. They all got it from Nicole. He taught it to them.
Where do we find him, Pete, you know?
Nicole? No, not for sure. He's got figures, you know. He doesn't live here in town. He only comes up for the weekend, works Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then he takes off again.
Takes off for what?
We're down by the border someplace, Palm City, Tijuana, I'm not sure. You know, don't forget I'm helping you, huh? We'll let him know I cooperated.
Yeah, we'll let him know, Pete. Now, when's the last time you saw Nicole, huh?
Oh, it's been a month anyway. I never want to see him again. So this may help you, though. I know where his girlfriend stays.
Yeah?
The problem on South Rampart, I can give you the address. She probably goes see her once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else you can think of?
No, that's about it. There won't be any pushover, Sergeant. Like I said, I think he's a little crazy. It's not going to be an easy one to take.
Well, we'll give it a try.
Oh, I mean it that way. He's wild, but you get him, I guess. Just one thing.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell him first.
3:45 a.m. Pete Albanese and his accomplice were booked at the main jail on suspicion 211 PC. The next morning, Ben and I checked out the address of Nicole's girlfriend, which Albanese had given us. The girlfriend's name was Esther Rivard. She told us that she hadn't seen Nicole in more than 2 weeks. We asked her if she knew where the suspect stayed when he was in town. She gave us an address on South Pico. We called in and arranged for a stakeout on the girl's place, and we drove over to check the address that she'd given us. It was a small apartment court on the edge of the industrial district. Nicole wasn't there, neither was the manager. We talked to one of the tenants who told us that the manager, Mrs. Clara Fontaine, was out of town. He said that while she was gone, her daughter Norma was looking after the place. The daughter was employed as a secretary at the Blue Cross Hospital Plan office over on Wilshire Boulevard. We called the office and arranged for another stakeout at the apartment court. 1:25 p.m. We located the landlady's daughter at the Blue Cross office on Wilshire. We showed her Nicole's mugshot.
Yes, it's one of Mama's tenants, Mr. Reynolds. He's in bungalow 5.
Anyone staying with him or something?
No one's registered with him, no. He has visitors, though. Is there something wrong?
Well, when did you see this man last?
This morning. When I was leaving for work, he was outside working on his car. Would you excuse me, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Blue Cross? Yes, sir? I see. No, just address the letter to Blue Cross Hospital Plan. You can send it to us here at the Wiltshire office. That's right. Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry. What was I going to say?
You told us that you saw this man working on his car this morning.
Oh, yes, he was parked right outside in front. I couldn't very well miss it. I'm going to tell Mama about it when she gets home.
What's that mean?
It was certainly strange because it's not that time of year. That's why I noticed it.
What's that?
He was changing the license plates on his car.
Did you get the numbers?
It's right here in my purse.
1:32 p.m. With the information furnished us by the girl, Ben got on the phone and called in a description of the suspect's car, together with the 2 sets of license numbers. It was a 1941 Ford sedan, dark blue, white sidewall tires. Communications got out a broadcast and a supplementary APB on it. At 6 p.m., Ben and I relieved the men on a stakeout at Nicole's apartment. We waited. No sign of him. We checked with the office on the hour. No sign of the car. 10 p.m. Still nothing doing. 11 o'clock. Nothing. Gonzalez and Pena from robbery drove out and relieved us, and we headed back to the office. 11:26 p.m. What do you figure? I don't know. It's plugged every hole I can think of. Things due for a break, isn't it? Overdue. I could use some sleep. Yeah. Wait a minute. Right. Yeah, right away. Skipper? Hi. Here's one to move on. Yeah? 12th and Beacon, southeast corner. What is it? Nicole's car. They got it spotted. 11:56 p.m. Ben and I drove to the vicinity of 12th and Beacon, where we checked with the men in Unit 80K who'd spotted the car. They'd gotten out a code 5 on it. The description matched perfectly. A 1941 Ford sedan, dark blue, white sidewall tires. The license number was one of those given us by the apartment manager's daughter that afternoon. Together with the 2 men in 86K, we staked out on the suspect's car at a distance. It was parked almost exactly in the middle of the block. About 20 feet behind it, a red and white delivery truck was parked. The street was fairly deserted. The only place of business open was a small corner bar at the far end of the block. 12:30. 1 a.m. No one came near the dark blue sedan. We waited. 2 a.m. The corner bar closed up. A man came out, got in the red and white delivery truck, and drove off. 2:30 a.m. The dark blue sedan was still sitting there. We kept waiting.
Roger 13 hour, code 7.
Well, one way or the other, I wish he'd make up his mind. It's a long way. Cold room here, and it wasn't that vacant store. Better check and see if it's clear. Yeah, all right, I'll do it. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Control 1 to 80K. Go ahead.
80K to Control 1. We clear.
Control 1 to 80K. Stand by.
Oh, you on smoke? I'm out. You too? Yeah. I guess we do without. Yeah.
Control 1 to 80K. Control 1 to 80K. You're cleared. Code 1 to MH367.
80K to Control 1. Roger. KMH367. Hey, have a look, Joe. Just turn the corner. Where? Far end of the block, opposite side. Heading up this way. Yeah. You make out 2 of them there? Mm-hmm. 2. They're passing by the sedan. No, they... We're getting near, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Come on. Spotted us, Joe. They're getting out.
All right, hold it there, both of you. Sit down, Joe. Get up, Nicole.
Behind that car.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold it. Don't shoot, Joe.
Throw out your gun, both of you.
Harry, don't shoot. Throw out your gun. They'll kill him. Get up, Harry. They'll kill him.
Come on, throw him out.
Don't shoot. Here's my gun. Don't shoot.
One of them.
Come on, Harry. You got it. Get up.
That's 2. Let's go. Yeah, careful.
There's a gun. Don't shoot. I got my hands up.
All right, keep them up.
Okay, I will. Just don't shoot. I didn't use my gun. Harry did. I tried to tell him you heard me. You heard me. You heard me sit up to shoot. Check my gun. I didn't shoot at you.
Come on. Get him out in front of him. I'll get you.
Come on, officer. Third time for me.
All right, save it. Okay, Joe, you ready? Let's go. Please, huh? Give me a break. You picked the wrong time to cry, Mason. Please, now, this is the third time for me. I'm no good in that. You had your chances. You kicked them away. Let's make a deal, huh? I'm no good in jail. No good at all. You're no better out here. Let's go. The
story you just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent. On May 24th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Now... Vernon Nicoli and his accomplices were tried and convicted on several counts of first-degree robbery. They received sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. First-degree robbery is punishable by a prison term of not less than 5 years, with a maximum life term.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Cross has been asked by your government to help the nation mobilize for defense. You can help by giving generously to the Red Cross.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
The team of...
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. It's New Year's Eve in your city, and you're on special duty. Thousands of people crowd downtown streets. One of them is a killer. Your job, find them.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was New Year's Eve. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide, special duty. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from dinner, and it was 8:35 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Joe?
Hi, Barney.
How is it outside?
It's cold. Not keeping people at home, though. Did you check the crowds?
Yeah. Been watching it from the window here. Seems bigger than last New Year's. Crazy.
You're on with Ben and me tonight, is that right?
Uh-huh. Thought I was going to have it off. Wife had a little house party planned and everything.
Well, that's too bad. Maybe next time, huh?
Yeah, that's what I said last New Year's. Now, guess we better start moving.
Yeah, where's Ben?
He went down the hall a minute, said he'd be right back. I better take my top coat, huh?
Yeah, I would if I were you. Nothing for us in the book, is there, Barney?
I almost forgot Jack Conley called, having a little party out at his house. Wants you, Romero, to drop around when you get off. Said he'd call back.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. You about ready?
Yeah, let me grab my overcoat.
All right.
I just tagged back communications. Switchboard's lit up like a Christmas tree during a millimeter bid.
Just like last year, they're starting off strong.
415s, 507, calls coming in with a dozen. I'd like to see it just once. People celebrating New Year's without tearing up half the town.
I get it. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Jack. Yeah, well, Barney just mentioned it. Well, we'll try and make it. You know how things are tonight. Yeah, we'll try, sure. Thanks a lot. There's Jack Conley, Ben, on his way home. He wants us to drop by his place if we get off early tonight.
Not much chance of that. You ready?
Yeah, I am. You, Barney? Let's go.
Guess you can't tell. We might get a break.
Hmm?
The crowds are starting in pretty early. Good chance they'll break and go home right after midnight. That should get us off early.
And that was the idea last year, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah.
What time did you get off?
6 a.m. Together with Sergeant Barney Luchak, Ben and I left the city hall and started to cruise to the southern end of the central area. As any police officer can tell you, New Year's Eve for him is one of the hardest working nights in the year. This one was no different for us. Within an hour, we'd had more than a half a dozen calls to check out. Street fights, drunken driving, disturbing the peace. The usual complaints that you'd expect to get when a community of 3 million celebrates New Year's Eve. 9:43 p.m. We were cruising in the area of Alameda and Macy Street.
Unit 72R at Wilshire in Geneva, 311, KMA 367. Roger, 72R. Unit 112 at 83 Naylor Avenue. See the man, keep the peace, KMA 367.
No stopping him, huh?
It's a big night. Smoke, Joe?
No, no thanks.
Attention all units in the vicinity at East Main and Darwin. An officer needs help.
Well, looks like we got one, huh?
Yeah.
All units in the vicinity at East Main and Darwin. An officer needs help. KMA 367.
I guess we better handle it, huh?
All right.
Next one to the left, Ben. We can go out Darwin.
Well,
I better call him. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
What's the matter?
Well, I guess they're busy. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Stand by, 80K. Attention, all units. All units in the vicinity. The call to East Main and Darwin is now a shooting.
I guess you better push it, Ben.
Yep. Got it down to the floor.
All units in the vicinity. The call to East Main and Darwin is now a shooting. The call is now code 3, KMA 367.
That's it coming up, Ben. East Main.
Yeah.
There's a crowd there on the corner. I guess you better pull up here, huh? All right. Come on. Yeah.
Over by the light pole, Ben. Joe, man lying on the sidewalk.
You want to check the crowd, Barney?
Yeah, okay.
Let us through here, please.
Can we get through?
Excuse me? Look, will you please get back? Move back, please.
All right, come on. I wonder if you just move along.
Just move along there.
Move along.
That's
Give us
right.
a little room to work. Thank you. Ben,
Yeah, Joe?
have a look here.
No.
That's Jack Conley.
That?
He's dead. His full name was John Patrick Conley, serial number 367. He was one of the veteran officers in Central Homicide. He lay face down on the pavement, one of his legs straddling the curbstone. He'd been shot twice at the base of his skull. There were 4 more bullet wounds in his back. Ben got to a phone, called Homicide, and told them what had happened. 24 cruiser cars and more than 100 men were immediately dispatched to the scene of the killing. They circled the area for a dozen blocks around and started a door-to-door search for the killer. Suspicious-looking pedestrians were stopped at every street corner and questioned. 10:30 p.m. The ambulance arrived and Jack Conley's body was taken to the morgue. Along with Thaxter and Bryan from Homicide, Barney Luchek, Ben, and I continued checking in the immediate vicinity of the killing. We found no one who'd admit that they actually saw the shooting. 6 people in the crowd told us that they heard the shots and they saw Conley fall to the pavement. They'd also seen a man standing behind Conley turn and run down the street right after the shooting. No one had followed him. The man was described as medium build, wearing a dark suit and a dark hat. That's all they could tell us. 11:25 p.m. Ben and I met Barney Luchek back at the car.
Morning. Did you get anything?
Checked out every store in the neighborhood that's open. Not much. How about you?
No, it's the same. Pretty thin.
Bryan and Thaxter turned up a newsboy down the street. He told him he saw the guy in the dark suit running down the street.
Yeah.
Thought he saw the guy come out of this bar here.
We heard that too, Barney. We talked to the bartender. He doesn't recall the man.
Oh, say, I almost forgot. I checked with the office. Mrs. Conley's been calling in. Wants to know where her husband is.
Oh, yeah.
I asked personnel to hold off notifying her. Thought maybe you fellas would want to tell her. You knew Conley pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah, long time.
Family man?
3 kids.
If you fellas don't want to tell her, I'll call personnel back. They can do it.
No, it's all right. Don't tell her. 11:40 p.m. Ben and I got in the car and headed out for the home of the slain officer, Jack Conley. The house was on Ralston Avenue, just a few blocks from where Ben lived. We parked the car and started up the front walk. The lights were burning in the living room.
Lousy job.
What?
I said it's a lousy job.
Yeah. Better try it again, huh?
I heard it. Somebody's coming.
Oh.
Hi, Joe, Ben.
Hello, Betty. How are you?
Betty.
I'm sure glad you can make it. Everybody's here. Come in, come in.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for that wandering husband of mine. If he's not here by midnight, he's going to be in the doghouse for sure. Here, let me take your coat.
No, Betty, that's all right. I wonder if we could go back into the kitchen. We'd like to talk to you.
Matter, can't you stay long?
Well, no, not too long.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, come on back in the kitchen and I'll get you something. Maybe you can drop back later on. Jack should be here by then. He'd better be. Come on in. By the one of you seen Jack?
That's what we wanted to talk to you about, Betty.
What?
You want to sit down, Betty?
What is it, Joe? Tell me.
Well, he had an accident.
Where is he? I want to go see him. How bad an accident?
Pretty bad.
I want to go see him, Joe. If he's hurt, I want to see him. Couldn't be that bad, could it?
Yeah.
Oh, please, Joe. Please, not dead. Tell me, Joe, please.
I'm sorry, Betty.
Dear God. Oh, God.
Want to give me a hand here, Joe?
Yeah. As white as a sheet.
Be worse when she comes through. We better get a hold of the family doctor.
No, we're going to have to wait. We'll never get through now.
Huh?
Phone lines are probably jammed. It's midnight.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
12:30 a.m. We finally got a hold of the Conleys' family doctor, and he told us that he'd be over as quickly as possible. Some of Betty Conley's relatives at the party said that they'd look after things until the doctor arrived. Ben and I left the house and drove back to the scene of the murder. The house-to-house check of the entire area was still going on. There was no trace of the killer. 1:30 a.m. A low fog moved in over the city. Traffic began to thin out a little. The street crowds disappeared. 2 a.m. The search went on. A little before 2:30, a patrolman on foot located a taxicab driver in the neighborhood who claimed that he'd seen a man answering the killer's description just after the shooting. Ben and I went down the street to talk to the driver. He sat behind the wheel of his cab. It was especially equipped with shortwave radio to handle calls directly from the taxi company's dispatch office.
Try to pass it on for whatever it's worth, officer. It happened just a minute or two before I picked up my last fare.
What time was that? Do you remember?
Oh, remembering, too, and I got it right here on the waybill. Yeah, here we go. 9:48 p.m. I was parked just where I am now. Same old stand. I picked up a fare, drove him to North Main and Sotelo, and I came back here. My cab broke down. Lousy distributor. I've been waiting for the repair truck ever since.
Well, just what was it that happened before you picked up that fare here? That was at 9:48, is that right?
Yeah, 9:48, yeah. Well, I was going to say, it was just a minute or two before that. I was parked right here. This guy comes running down the street through the crowd. He was really running, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's almost past me when he stopped all of a sudden, turned around and looked at me. I thought he wanted a cab, so I opened the door for him. He just looked at me and said, "Never mind," or something like that, and then he took off down the street. Maybe he was just a little goofed up. I don't know.
Can you remember what he looked like?
Oh, about your build, I guess. Medium. He had a hat on, dark hat, dark suit.
Did you get a look at his face?
Yeah, he's about 28 or 30, dark complexion.
Anything else you remember about him?
No, not for sure. He looked like 100 other mooches down around this neighborhood. Just listen to those calls come in, huh? New Year's Eve, and I draw a lame cab.
Well, there's nothing else that you remember about this man that you think might help us, huh?
No, you got it all, Sergeant. Just acted a little queer, that's all. Goofed up, probably.
Did you see which way he went when he took off?
Right down the street. That way.
Mm-hmm.
Lost himself in the crowd. I couldn't be bothered.
Mm-hmm. How about when he came running down the street towards you? Did you happen to notice where he was coming from?
Matter of fact, yeah, that was just after I heard those gunshots. Of course, I didn't know there were gunshots then.
Yeah.
Looked to me like he came out of that joint up there, right near where the cop was shot.
Which joint was that?
The 228, that bar up there.
Well, it wasn't much, but it was the only lead we had to go on. 7 persons in the vicinity at the time of the shooting had volunteered the information that the killer had been a recent customer at the 228 Club, the neighborhood tavern. The owner and bartender of the club, a Ralph Stevens, had been questioned twice that night by different officers, and he twice denied that there was any possibility that the killer could have been a patron at his bar. Stevens' denial didn't make any more sense than the killing itself. We made arrangements to have the cab driver we interviewed come down to the city hall to check through our mug books for the suspect. By 10 a.m. the next morning, the body of the slain homicide officer, Jack Conley, had been posted. 4 bullets were taken from his back, 2 from the base of his skull. Russ Camp ran the slugs through ballistics, where they were identified as having been fired from a .38 caliber Colt Special revolver. 11 a.m. We drove back to the 228 Club, where we talked to some of the customers who'd been there the night before. 3 of them told us that they'd seen a man answering the general description of the killer in the bar shortly before the shooting. Ben and I went back to the stockroom at the rear of the bar and talked to the owner, Ralph Stevens.
Look, how long does this thing have to go on anyway? I told you everything I knew last night.
We know that, Stephen. Doesn't seem to jibe with what the rest of the witnesses saw, though.
Then maybe you better take it up with them. I don't know anything about it. I got work to do, and you're in my way there.
Excuse me.
How come you're so sure that the man we want wasn't in your place last night? I'm not on trial here. You asked me what I know, and I told you. If you don't mind, I got work to do. You mind moving over there? All right, we'd appreciate it if you'd cooperate. All right, if you want to know the truth, you're not good for my business here. Cops never are. Coming around asking questions, customers don't like it. It's no good for business, no good at all. A cop was killed last night right outside your front door. Now, half a dozen people say that the guy who did it was in here drinking. I run this place. It's mine. I say the man wasn't in here.
Still like to know how you're so sure.
I'm getting a little tired of this. I don't have an office down at the City Hall to lounge around in. I got work to do. How about leaving, huh? You want to get your coat? We can talk to you downtown. Come on. Not before I call my lawyer.
Go ahead and call him. Where's your coat?
Why do we have to have trouble? I haven't got any beefs with you.
No trouble, Stevens. We have to get to the bottom of it, that's all. I'd like to have you cooperate.
Maybe the guy was in here last night. He came in a couple of times, that's all. I didn't want it to get out. Bad for business, those things. Can't afford it. Keeps customers away. Then the man was in here last night, is that right? I wasn't trying to cover it for him. I hardly know him. I just didn't want it to get out. I got a right to protect my business.
Who is the man?
Harry Talmadge. He's a hophead. If he did it, it probably wasn't his fault. How do you mean? He was hyped up last night, uses heroin. He probably didn't mean to shoot. Where do we find him? I wouldn't know if this is right. Old address.
What is it?
Fairview Hotel. Try there. 11:35 a.m., New Year's Day. We got in touch with Barney Luchek and Tom Bryan from Homicide, and they drove downtown to check at the Fairview Hotel for the suspect. Ben and I finished questioning the owner of the 228 Club, and we went back to the office. 11:58 a.m., Barney Luchek and Bryan got back.
Barney, what have you got?
Fairview Hotel in South Grand. Was that the one?
Yeah. Did you find it okay?
Yeah, I talked to the desk clerk.
Talmadge registered there?
Yeah, he was. Checked out 2 months ago. No leads.
You are listening to Dragnet, a series of authentic case histories documented from official files.
1 p.m. New Year's Day. After we found that the suspect, Harry Talmadge, had checked out of the Fairview Hotel months before, Ben and I went back to the office and ran his name through R&I. The information given us by Ralph Stevens, the owner of the 228 Club, was apparently correct. The record on Talmadge showed that he was a confirmed user of narcotics. He served 2 brief terms for illegal possession of narcotics and another short term in the county jail for petty theft. We got out a broadcast and an APB on Talmadge. We checked out all his known friends and relatives, the places that he frequented, hotels, boarding houses that he'd stayed at. No leads. With the help of Lieutenant Walters and narcotics detail, we finally found the trail most likely to lead us to the suspect. The peddlers who were suspected of supplying Talmadge with narcotics. They were kept under a 24-hour watch. 3 days passed. No results. January 4th, 9 a.m. Ben and I went to the funeral and burial services for the murdered officer, Jack Conley. 11 a.m. We got back to the office.
Don't know why, Joe. I just don't cotton to funerals. Not a cop's funeral, anyway.
Well, I don't blame you. His wife looked a lot better, didn't she?
Yeah, she'd be bearing up good, considering.
Merrill, Joe?
Hi, Barney.
What do you say, Barney?
Yeah, young fella you told me about. He phoned you, Ben.
Oh, is that right? Did you give him the information?
Yeah, he wanted to know all about taking the police department examination.
Now, who's that?
One of my neighbor's boys, a nice kid. Wants to get on the force.
I told him to apply at room 5, City Hall, any weekday. You can make his application then. That it?
Fine, Barney, thanks.
Well, they got the recruiting campaign going now?
Yeah, all this month. Taking applications from all over the country.
I'll get it. Homicide, Friday. Oh, yeah, Walters. Just a minute. Okay. ALDSON, Donaldson. Okay, fine. Thanks a lot. Lou Walters and narcotics might be something.
What's that?
Well, he got a line on one of the mules who used to push heroin to town. He's a guy by the name of Donaldson. He's been sounded out. He's ready to talk to us.
This Donaldson was close to Talmadge?
Well, supposedly, yeah.
You know where Talmadge is?
Well, let's ask him. Ben and I left the office and drove to the address on South Alameda where Donaldson, a friend of the murder suspect, was supposed to be staying. Turned out to be a cheap hotel in the Skid Row district. It was next to one of the rescue missions down there. We finally located Donaldson across the street. He was standing on the sidewalk along with 4 or 5 other men. They were listening to a small Salvation Army band playing outside one of the beer joints.
I hardly miss any of these sidewalk meetings, Sergeant. Like 'em. Band music. Even listen to the sermons. Do me a lot of good.
I understand you're not pushing junk anymore, Donaldson. Is that right?
And you want to call me Big, Sergeant? Name's really John, but everybody calls me Big.
All right.
No, I haven't been pushing junk. Not for months. All through with it.
Well, when's the last time that you saw Harry Talmadge?
A couple of weeks ago. I'm not much for Harry anymore. Like I say, I've been regular at these sidewalk meetings, hearing the sermons. Changes the way a fella does things, you know.
Yeah.
Man's got to turn good sometime during his life. Not getting any younger. 58. I figure it's time I start living by the word. Say, that's nice music, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have any idea where we might find Talmadge now?
I might have a few ideas on it. I don't know. Say, I guess neither one of you fellas use snuff.
No.
Don't bother you, does it?
No, go right ahead.
That's all right.
I know the last boarding house Harry stayed at, if that'll help any. Place on 12th Street. I can give you the address.
Well, is he still there, do you know?
I don't think he is, no. Matter of fact, I'm sure he's not. Wish Harry'd come around and see me. Like to get him interested in these sidewalk meetings. Get him listening to the sermons. Might help him. Did an awful lot for me.
Yes, sir. Will you say that you saw Talmadge about 2 weeks ago?
Well, not quite 2 weeks ago. It was the day after Christmas. Came down to my hotel and wanted some money. I couldn't give him any. That's when he told me he was moving. Going to some rooming house up around the City Hall section up there.
Did he mention any address?
Not that I recollect, no. That sure is nice music, isn't it?
Well, how about some of his other friends, Biggs? You think they might be able to help us?
Well, Duke might help you. Harry and old Duke are still great friends. Duke sees him more than I do.
Where do we find Duke?
Well, you know the Penny Arcade down on South Main? Right down from the train depot there?
Yeah.
That's where Duke works. He's a janitor there. I've been trying to get Duke to come to the sidewalk meetings, too. He sure could stand it, old Duke.
Well, thanks very much, Biggs.
Not at all, Sergeant. Always glad to help out. Now look at that now. All out of snuff. Say you couldn't see your way clear, could you?
There you go, Biggs.
That's sure Christian of you, Sergeant. I'll handle this just like a personal loan.
It's all right, Biggs. Don't say anything about us talking to you, though, huh? Not to anyone.
No, sir, I won't. You can trust me. Say, when you see Harry, give him a message, huh?
Well, what's that?
You tell him to come and see me. I want him to show up at these meetings, hear the sermons. It could change everything, Sergeant. It could give him a new life, new soul. Brand new soul for Harry. Think of that.
Yeah, I could use one. 3 p.m. Tuesday, January 4th. We drove down to the Penny Arcade on South Main. Harry Talmadge's friend, Duke, wasn't there. The manager of the place gave us his home address, and we checked it out. Duke wasn't there either. We staked out at the place for the rest of the afternoon. Duke failed to show. At 6 o'clock that night, Barney Luchek and Brian from Homicide came out and relieved us. Ben and I had dinner at Johnny Cokin's, and then we went back to the office. 7:20 p.m.
Want to grab that, Joe?
Yeah, I got it. Homicide, Friday.
This is Luchek, Joe.
Oh, yeah, Barney.
Talmadge's friend just showed up here. We're talking to him now.
Will he tell you anything?
Yeah, you got a pencil. You better write this down.
All right, wait a minute. Just a second. All right, go ahead.
1727 West Hoover, apartment 3.
It was 1727 West Hoover, is that right?
Yeah.
Apartment 3? Well, what's the pitch?
Harry Talmadge. Duke says he's there now.
All right, Barney, thanks. Bye.
Luchek?
Yeah.
What's he got?
Harry Talmadge. Supposed to be at this address. Ben and I got in the car and drove out to the West Hoover Street address where we met Luchek and Brian. 1727 was a small two-story apartment house, Spanish stucco in style. Apartment 3 was at the rear of the first floor. All right, Luchek, you want to pick up Brian and you cover the back. Huh?
Right, Joe.
Come on, Ben. Let's go. Huh? Get us up the stairs, huh?
Mm-hmm. Number 3.
Okay. I'll cover you.
No sound inside. Door's open.
No, let's have a look.
No, it's empty.
You want to try the bedroom? I'll check the kitchen.
Joe, in here.
All right, tell me. What's the gun? Got a gun, Joe. Grab it. All right.
You're a cop.
All right, come on, drop it. Drop it.
My arm.
I got it, Joe.
All right, come on your feet. All right, get him in back of you.
All right.
Come on, hold still.
38 revolver, Joe. Colt Special.
All right, how about it, Talmadge?
It's mine. What of it?
Where's your coat?
I don't know.
Why'd you kill him?
Because I wanted to, that's all. He was a cop.
Is that your only reason?
I told you he was a cop. What's the difference?
There's a big difference, mister.
Why? I killed him. It's just one cop less. What's the difference?
Ask his family. They'll tell you.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 26th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Harold Wesley Talmadge was found guilty of manslaughter by jury trial and was sentenced to the state penitentiary. He was paroled after serving 6 years in prison. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, more good mystery on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A man is pulled from his car on a deserted street. He's robbed, beaten viciously. His car is stolen. The criminal makes good his escape. Your job, find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, July 9th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:55 a.m. when we got to the Stacy Hollywood department store. Personnel department.
Stacy Hollywood. That would be the yardage department. Yes, ma'am, I'll connect you. Yes, sir, can I help you?
Police officer.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak to one of your employees, Harvey Kimbrough.
Just a moment, I'll page him for you.
You got a match?
Yeah. Here you are.
Thank you.
When I was a kid, I never could figure out what that was.
What's that?
The auto call system. To call employees to the phone. Rings all over the store, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Office. Yes, Mr. Kimbrough, there are 2 policemen waiting to see you on the 10th floor. All right. That was Mr. Kimbrough. He's on his way up.
Thank you very much.
Did I give you the crime report on this thing?
No, I think you kept it, didn't you?
Let's see.
Stacy Holloway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here it is.
Just a moment,
Oh,
I'll
say. Oh, wasn't he?
What do you got there?
They call them Pepto Pals. They're good. Try one.
And what are they for?
They coat the stomach. For stomach aches, you know, they're good.
Well, I haven't got a stomach ache.
Oh.
These gentlemen here, Stella?
Yes, that's right.
You Harvey Kimbrough?
Yes, sir, that's right. I sure appreciate you people coming over here. I don't like to take time off from work. It makes it tough on my partners, Clyde and Warren.
Yes, we understand.
Janitor working a big store like this keeps you hopping.
Beauty salon.
You haven't got any idea who the hold-up men are yet, have you?
No, sir, we haven't. We'd like to get a little more information on what happened.
Did you talk to the 2 officers in the police car?
Well, yes, we did, but it's customary for us to make a follow-up for any additional information.
You fellas are plain clothesmen, is it?
Yeah, we're from Central Robbery.
Oh, I see. Well, I never knew I'd get this much service.
Yes, sir. I wonder if we might step outside the office here. I don't imagine you want to discuss your personal business here in the office.
It's very considerate of you. Thank you.
Fine. Go ahead.
I wonder if you'd mind going over it again for us, Mr. Kimbrough. Maybe something you didn't think of when the other officers talked to you.
I believe I told them everything. I was on my way into work this morning about 5 a.m.
You live out in Alhambra?
Yes, sir, that's right. I take the freeway in.
It was on Commercial Street that you were held up?
That's right, Commercial, right near Alameda, almost to the corner. Where they're tearing those buildings down. Man flagged me down. Looked like his car was stalled.
Yes, sir.
I always make it a habit to stop when I see somebody in trouble. I know how it is that time in the morning. No gas stations open. Figured maybe the fellow needed a shove or something.
So you stopped to give him a hand, is that right?
That's what I had in mind. I'd no more than stop the car. And he came over, he pointed a gun at me and told me to get out.
What'd you do?
Well, I asked the fellow what he want. I told him I didn't have any money. Told him I was on my way into work.
What'd he say to that?
Didn't say anything. He just opened the car door, grabbed me by the arm, and pulled me out. I wasn't prepared for it, and I kind of fell out onto the street.
Yeah.
I still didn't know what he was after. Thought at first he might have been crazy. He was going to kill me.
Well, why'd you think he was going to kill you? Did he threaten you? Or?
No, but the gun and all, and the way he pulled me out of the car, I just couldn't make it out.
I see. Would you go on, please?
Well, he took my wallet from me, all the money I had, $14. And then he said, don't bother to get up and stay right there for 5 minutes after I leave. And then he bent down and he hit me in the face.
What'd he hit you with?
With his fist. Hit me right here in the mouth. You can see the cut right inside my lip here.
Yeah.
You see, it bled pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's a nasty cut.
Oh, it's better now. The men who came in the ambulance, they put something on it. It'll be all right.
Well, did he knock you out when he hit you?
No, I saw him get into my car, and then the car parked up ahead took off, and this man who held me up, he followed my car.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have anything more on the description of the hold-up man or his car?
No, I think I told the other officers everything I could remember.
Would you recognize the man if you saw him again, Mr. Kimbrough?
Yes, sir, I think I would.
Well, now, your car is a blue 1948 Dodge sedan, right rear fender damaged. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Any other identifying marks at all?
No, sir, that's about the size of it.
And the other car looked to you like a late model Chevrolet, is that right?
49 or 50 anyway, two-tone green.
Yes, sir, that's what we have.
Did you see the license number on that?
No, sir, I didn't.
This witness who's listed here, Mr. Sidney Ferguson?
That was the fellow that stopped and picked me up, brought me into work. Did you talk to him yet? He might be able to help.
Well, we're going to see him as soon as we leave you. 800 block on Satakoy.
Yes, sir, that's right. Sure hope you get that thief. My car, too. Awful hard to get around Los Angeles without a car.
We'll do our best.
I was just wondering, Mr. Kimbrough.
Yes, sir, what's that?
Well, you say that when the man hit you, he didn't knock you out. You weren't unconscious?
No, sir, I was not.
Well, did you try to locate a phone, call for help?
I didn't have to. This Mr. Ferguson pulled up and stopped right away, and then the officers came. Besides, I figured I'd better do what I was told.
How's that?
I was afraid. I was going to wait 5 minutes.
Ben and I left the department store, picked up our car in the parking lot next door, and drove out to the San Fernando Valley, the 800 block on Satakoy Avenue. Citizen's home was there in one house.
Round back, through the gate there, down the driveway.
This way, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Hi there. This is the Ferguson house.
Yes, sir. We're looking for Sidney Ferguson.
Surely, I'm Sidney Ferguson.
Police officers, Mr. Ferguson.
About that holdup this morning out on Commercial Street.
Yes, sir, that's right. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
Happy New Year. Excuse my wet hand. Been cleaning out my tanks.
Oh, yes, sir.
You fellas work out at City Hall?
Yes, we do.
Wouldn't happen to know a John O'Grady down there. Narcotics Division. Went to Highland.
No, I don't believe I know him. Ben?
O'Grady?
Yeah.
Tall fella, kind of blonde, wavy hair?
Yeah, that's right. Good-looking fellow.
Yeah, I think I've seen him around.
Good friend of mine. Wasn't that a shame this morning, that Kimbrough guy?
Yeah, it was a rough one. The reason we came out to see is that we thought that maybe you could give us some additional information on it.
Glad to give you all the help I can. I'd like to see you get that holdup, man.
Mind giving us a rundown on what happened this morning?
Not at all. It's around 5 o'clock this morning. I'm not usually up that time in the morning, but I was on my way back from Monterey Park. Generally try to make it down there at least once or twice a month. Go down to see Jack Robinson and a chorist friend I have down there. We swap fish.
Yes, sir.
I was on my way back, coming down Commercial Street, when I saw this man sitting on the side of the curb. Looked like he was hurt to me.
I see.
Wouldn't have noticed it, probably. It was pretty dark, but those 2 cars pulled out, one right after the other. Seemed to be in a big hurry.
You pulled up to give Kimbrough a hand?
Yes, I did. Of course, when I got close enough, I could see the guy had been kicked in the teeth. Bleeding pretty bad. Offered to take him to the hospital, but he said he didn't want to be late for work.
Mm-hmm.
After the officers came and talked to him and the ambulance men treated him, I drove him up to Stacy's Hollywood, dropped him off there. That's where he works, you know.
Yeah. Well, the report says here that you got the license number of the getaway car, but you couldn't find the paper that you'd written it on when the officers interviewed you, then?
Yes, I did, and that doesn't beat them all.
What's that?
Well, I had the piece of paper a few minutes before the officers got there. Guess I was more rattled than the Kimbrough fella. When I got home here this morning, there was a slip of paper right on the floor of my car. A little bit of a break, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. I wonder if we could have it.
You bet you can. Let's step inside.
Fine, thank you.
Don't mind the fish, officers. It's my hobby, tropical fish.
Oh, sure got a lot of them.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, where did I put that piece of paper? I really wrote it down, believe me. I just misplaced it someplace here. I'm trying to get rid of some of the algae off the glass of the tanks.
Joe, look at these. You ever seen anything prettier in your life?
Yeah.
Those are what they call clownfish, saltwater fish.
Mm-hmm. Do you keep all tropical fish in salt water?
Oh, no. Most of them are freshwater. That is, ones that breed good in captivity.
Where do you get all these fish? You catch them?
Oh, no. A place called Aquarium Stock Company out on Beverly.
Uh-huh. Look there, Joe. Down the corner. See him over there?
Yeah.
That's a seahorse, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. They're also kept in saltwater.
Sure is interesting, huh, Joe?
Yeah.
How'd you fellas really like to see something you haven't seen before?
What's that?
Look in this tank here. Hoplochromos multicolor. That's a scientific name, commonly known as the Egyptian mouth breeder.
Is that a fact?
It's a little female there. She's one of the most sacrificing mothers in aquarium history. One of the strangest, too.
How's that?
Well, she lays her eggs in a small depression in the sand down there at the bottom of the tank.
Well, how many eggs would that be?
Usually 80 to 90. Now, here's the strange part. As the eggs are fertilized, she scoops them up in her mouth.
She eats them?
Oh, no. They remain in her mouth while they hatch.
Well, how long does that take?
Over 14 days.
Well, how does she eat?
That's just it. She doesn't. She doesn't touch food in any form for this 2-week period. Seems to just waste away.
And what happens then?
Finally, the eggs hatch after 14 days, and the little fry comes swimming out of the mother's mouth.
Yeah.
And while the fry are growing up, first, you can hardly see them. They're so tiny. While they're growing up, if anything frightens them, quick as a flash, they're back in the mother's mouth.
Well, that's certainly amazing. Joe?
Yeah.
Hoplochromos multicolor, commonly known as the Egyptian mouth breeder.
That as big as they ever get?
Yes, sir. 1 inch to 1.5 inches.
It's hard to believe.
The bedders are almost as strange. The male builds a bubble nest on the surface of the water. That's these in this tank. Oh, here's that paper.
Hmm?
The one I wrote the license number on.
Oh, that's fine. I wonder if I could see that, please.
Here you are.
Thank you.
You pretty sure of this number, Mr. Ferguson?
Yes, I am. I got a good look at it.
Well, thank you much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Not at all. Wish you could come over and spend a little time. You seem kind of interested in tropical fish.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll do that sometime.
Bye.
Bye,
sir. Thanks very much. That's a good break if this license number checks out, huh?
Yeah. That Ferguson's a nice fella.
Yeah.
Say, Sergeant Romero.
Yes, sir?
You almost forgot. I meant to ask you.
What's that?
About 5 weeks from now.
Yeah?
How'd you like a nice pair of baby Egyptian mouth breeders?
$10:45 a.m. Ben and I got in the car and headed back toward town. I called communications and had them check the license number Ferguson gave us through DMV. They called back and told us that the car was a 1949 Chevrolet four-door sedan. The registered owner was a Jack B. Grant, 19112 Beacon Street, which is in the southwest part of Los Angeles. It was a large, old-fashioned residence that had been converted into a rooming house. We checked with the landlady, a Mrs. Ida Fisher.
He's been with me here about 8 months.
What time did you say Grant left this morning, Miss Fisher?
Well, it was pretty early. Must have been around 4 a.m. when I heard him go out. He came back in again about 8 o'clock this morning, parked his car, and then he drove off with some other man.
Would you happen to know the other man?
No, I wouldn't. I just saw him drive off.
Where does Grant park his car, ma'am?
Around back in the garage.
What if you'd mind if we take a look?
I know, that's all right. You just go right around the back there down the drive.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Now, there's 2 cars parked in there. The black Ford belongs to Mr. Spencer.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
And the 19 and 49 Chevrolet, that's Mr. Grant's.
We checked the car and the license number. It matched the description given us by the victim, Harvey Kimbrough, and the witness, Sidney Ferguson. Together with Mrs. Fisher, we checked Jack Grant's room. We found nothing of importance. His clothing and personal effects were all there, nothing to indicate that he wouldn't be back. We told the lady that we're placing the house under surveillance, and if Grant should return, not to say that we'd been there. She agreed and offered further assistance. She said she'd signal us by raising and lowering her front window curtain when Grant returned. We parked down the street, called the office, and advised them we were on stakeout. 2 men were sent out, and they covered the back entrance. Ben and I covered the front. By 6 o'clock that night, Grant had failed to show. 9 p.m., still nothing. 11 p.m.
What time did they say that relief team was coming out?
Around 11 sometime.
Chandler and Ricketts, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, I sure am stiff. Feels like needles all over my body. Been about 12 hours, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Just like driving up to San Francisco. Wife always makes me drive all the way. When I climb out of that car, I'm as stiff as a board.
Car pulling up down the street there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's Ricketts.
Hi, Jack.
Friday? Who's that you got with you?
Same guy that bought you your lunch yesterday.
Stop bragging. That's the house right up there.
Yeah, that's right, the green and white one there.
No sign of them at all, huh?
No, nothing.
Well, you guys want to take off?
Yeah, I guess you can make out Ricketts. You got Chandler with you.
I feel sorry for you, Friday, drawing this guy for a partner.
Well, after 7 years, he kind of grows on you. I'd like to check out the landlady before we take off. Her name's Ida Fisher, Jack.
Right, Joe.
Let's go, Jim.
Yeah.
See you later, Jack. Say hello to Chandler.
Right, Ben.
That Ricketts. Sure is a rib staker.
Yeah.
Front room lights are still on. Guess she's sweating it out with it.
Yes? Who's it?
Police officers, Miss Fisher.
Who?
Sergeant Friday.
Oh, yes.
Sorry to bother you again,
Oh,
ma'am.
that's all right. I just couldn't see who it was, and the porch lights burned out.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Grant?
I went out of his room.
I don't see why he hasn't come in.
Look out, Mom!
Mr. Grant, moving! Mr. Grant!
Ricketts, it's Grant! Out back!
All right?
Done. He made me hide him.
Lady, will you call an ambulance? Hurry. Joe.
He's not dead, is he?
Lady, get the ambulance, please. Monday, July 9th, 11:28 p.m. The ambulance arrived and Joe was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. His condition was critical. Despite the fact that the other men on stakeout at the house had closed in as quickly as possible, Jack Grant somehow succeeded in jumping out a side window and making good his escape through a maze of neighboring backyards. The men at the scene began a search of the immediate area. I called in and communications got out a broadcast on an APB. A special detail of men and cruiser cars was rushed to the scene and a blockade thrown up around the area. I stayed on and worked with Ricketts and Chandler. Under questioning, the landlady, Mrs. Fisher, broke down and admitted that Grant had given her $10 to keep his presence in the house a secret. He told us that when we'd searched the suspect's room earlier, he had hidden in the cellar. She was taken into custody. 1:30 a.m. I got a relief and I went downtown to the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. P&F ward.
We removed one slug from the upper thoracic region, another one from his right shoulder. Looked like they could have been .38 caliber. They've been marked for evidence.
How's he doing?
As well as can be expected.
What does that mean?
It's hard to tell. Depends on how it goes the next 4 hours.
Can I go see him?
No, we're not admitting anyone in there. Under sedatives, lost quite a lot of blood. It's pretty weak.
You need anybody for transfusions?
No, it's all taken care of. His relatives been notified?
Yes, sir. Just his mother. She's visiting relatives up in Renton, Washington. I sent them a wire. They'll break the news to her.
Yeah, that's about all we can do for now.
Oh, I wonder if I couldn't sneak in and leave this carton of cigarettes for him.
I'm afraid it's going to be some time before Sergeant Friday can use them. Just leave them. I'll have the nurse take care of it.
All right, Doctor. Thank you. Is there anything I can get for him? Anything he needs?
No. We're doing everything we can for him.
You don't think I could just look in for a minute?
No, I'm sorry.
Must be something I can do.
You got a good prayer handy?
2 a.m. I left Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and drove back to the scene of the shooting. The search for the suspect, Jack Grant, was still going on. The neighborhood was checked and rechecked. Everything possible was done to find the man who had shot down Sergeant Joe Friday. It's been said that a police department goes all out, doubles its efforts to run down a criminal who attacks a police officer. It's true, but most people aren't aware of the reason. Certain elements you to believe that the police officer places the safety of his fellow officers above that of the citizen. This isn't true. His first day at the academy, the cadet peace officer is taught this basic fact. If a criminal would shoot down the armed police officer, he wouldn't hesitate to shoot down the unarmed citizen. 3 a.m. I finally located Lieutenant Jack Ricketts at the corner of Coronado and Beacon Street, 7 blocks from the scene of the shooting.
How is he?
Not too good. Depends on the next 4 hours.
What are his chances?
I didn't ask.
Well, we're not getting any place here.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
Something's got to break.
Chandler's still downtown. They're combing through Grant's package down at the I Bureau.
They come up with anything?
Not the last time I checked. About 40 minutes ago.
Got any ideas?
Fresh out. You?
Couldn't have gotten far. Not this soon he couldn't.
Bus depots, train terminals, and airports are all covered. Highway patrol's been alerted. Nothing so far.
He's someplace close. He's got to be.
I think he's holed up in town, too, but where?
Yeah?
He's in a jam. He's had good publicity. A lot of his friends are going to hide to welcome that.
Maybe that narrows it down a little.
Maybe.
Let's find him. 3:30 a.m. Jack Ricketts and I got back to the city hall. We went directly to the I Bureau. Chandler and Powers had sifted through Jack Grant's package. They'd drawn up a list of all Grant's known friends and associates. There were 22 names on the list. 3 of them were in San Quentin Penitentiary. 2 of them were doing time at the county work for him. That left 17 names on the list. Further checking showed that 5 of them had out-of-state addresses. 12 names. The list was split down the middle. Ricketts and I took 6 names, Chandler and Powers 6. Of the 12, with the exception of 1, all names had appeared in police blotter in the past 8 years. Raymond Weller, Peter Denton, Horace Phillips, Henry Breen. Ricketts and I checked them. Some were in bed, some hadn't been to bed. We were reasonably sure none of them knew the whereabouts of the suspect. I called Georgia Street to find out about Joe. They told me no change in his condition. 4:55 a.m.
After this one, we get a quick bite to eat, huh? You don't look so good.
I'm not hungry. What's this one's name?
Anthony Baxter, room 23.
This is it. Anthony Baxter?
Yeah.
Police officers. We want to talk to you.
It's a fine hour to get a guy out of bed.
You always sleep with your clothes on? Let's step back there in the room.
Hey, what's going on?
You a friend of Jack Grant's?
Why?
Do you know Jack Grant?
Why?
Jack Grant's a friend of yours?
I'm not going to tell you anything till I know why.
You want to talk here or downtown?
I got a right to know what it's all about.
Get your hat and coat.
You just want to know if I know Jackie Grant, is that all?
You want to get that coat and hat?
I know Grant.
Where is he?
I don't want to get mixed up in anything.
You're mixed up in it already. You know him.
You know, that's the trouble with you guys. Guy tries to walk the straight and narrow, and you guys come around and try and push him into a corner.
Where's Grant?
Look, I've been in jail, and I did my time. You haven't got anything on me.
Baxter, let's get this straight. We're not after you. We're after Grant. We didn't come here to push you around. We don't want you to push us around. And where is he?
I'm going to tell you something. I don't like being talked to this way, and I'm not going to stand for it. I got certain rights, and I'm going to stand on them.
No, you listen to me. A friend of mine's lying in the hospital because of your pal Jack Grant. He put 2 bullets in him. Now I'm tired, and I'm out of his work. Where is he?
All right, Ben. It's all right. It's the last time around, Baxter. Tell us where Grant is or we go downtown. Come on, quick.
Hotel Filbert, room 605.
5:27 a.m. We located the Filbert Hotel on North Crocker Street. On the way over, we called in and told them what we'd found. Chandler and Powers met us outside the hotel. They took up their position. Ricketts and I checked with the desk clerk and confirmed that the suspect was in room 605. He was registered under an alias. We took the elevator to the 6th floor. Room 605 is directly across from the elevator.
What is it?
Police officer.
Watch your pants.
Now keep your hand out of that pocket, Grant. I wouldn't want to shoot you. 5:42 a.m. Ricketts and Chandler took the suspect into custody. It was 6:03 a.m. when I got to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, P&F ward.
Sergeant?
How is he?
You can go in. Don't stay too long.
Thanks. Hi, Joe.
Hi. You look tired.
How you feeling?
Oh, I'll do. How'd it go?
We got Grant.
You look tired. You been working straight through on it?
Yeah. Anything I can get you?
No. Guess I better hurry up and get out of here, huh?
Why?
Well, we still got that stolen car to find.
Story you just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 7th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial. Jack Grant was tried and convicted on 1 count of assault to commit murder. He and his accomplice were convicted on several counts of first-degree robbery. Assault to commit murder is punishable by imprisonment from 1 to 14 years. First-degree robbery by imprisonment from 5 years to life. The landlady, Ida Fisher, was placed on probation. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A phone call comes into your office from a man who tells you his wife has been murdered. He's not sure who the killer is. Your job? Find him. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, The difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 9th. It was rainy and windy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:27 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide detail.
Hi, Joe. Great night, huh?
Yeah, terrible weather.
Just look out there on Spring Street.
Yeah, I know. I just came in out of it.
Really coming down.
Yeah.
Just like I told you on the phone this afternoon.
What's that?
Every time those seagulls fly in from the coast, it means rain.
Yeah. Sure is a fine coat. I've never been sorry I bought this.
Let me take another look at that, Joe.
Yeah, sure. Here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. English coat, huh?
Yeah, they make them a little heavier over there than we do here. Seem to be kind of good in our business. You remember that Henderson stakeout last month?
Oh, yeah. Really poured down that day.
Mm-hmm. This coat kept me dry as a bone. Water just seems to roll off of it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Here you go.
Thank you. I have to hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to keep a good coat on a hanger, you know, especially when they're wet.
I betcha. Trouble with mine is it leaks right up here over the shoulders. Must be through the seams, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Same one I've been wearing. I told you about it before.
You said you're going to get a new one, didn't you?
Yeah, but it's such a good coat otherwise. I hate to throw it away.
It's no good if it leaks.
Oh, I guess you're right at that. Maybe I can get those seams fixed, do you think?
Well, I don't know. How long you had it?
7 years.
I'll get it. Homicide, Friday.
This is 14 on the complaint board. Take this call.
Right.
Hello?
Hello.
My name's Leonard Gray.
Yes, sir?
My wife's dead. She's been killed. I just went down to the garage, and when I came back, she was dead. Could you send somebody out here right away?
Yes, sir. What's that address?
1627 Oxford Place.
27 Oxford Place.
Yes, sir, that's right. Can't understand that she was all right when I left, and then when I came back, she was dead. I can't understand that.
We'll be right there, Mr. Gray.
My best friend lives right next door.
Yes, sir?
He says I did it.
1627 Oxford Place was on the east side of the street. It was an average one-story stucco home. All the homes on the street were about the same general style and size. It was a nice neighborhood. All the grounds appeared to be well kept from what we could see through the heavy rain. The porch light was burning when we got there. Inside the house, we were met by the 2 officers from Unit 37R who filled us in on the results of their preliminary investigation. We asked them to stand by in front of the house. Then we asked the husband of the murdered woman, Leonard Gray, to show us where the body was.
Back this way, in the dining room. Everything just the way you found it, Mr. Gray. You didn't touch anything?
No, sir, haven't touched anything. Right there on the floor. That's where I found it. Can I wait up there in the living room?
Yes, sir, that's all right. Ben, would you like to help him, please?
Yeah.
Just sit right there. I'll be right with you.
Thank you.
You and your wife live here alone, do you?
Yes. It's just two of us, no children.
Ben.
Yeah.
Clothing's torn. Must have put up a struggle, huh?
Yeah. Some redness there around the throat. Strangled?
Yeah, could be. Deep gash there on the forehead. Broken vase there on the floor. You want to call the crime lab?
Yeah, okay. Mr. Gray, where's your telephone? Right in the hall out there by the bedroom. Thank you.
You think you could tell us about it now, Mr. Gray?
Yes, I think so. Do you have a cigarette?
Yes, sir. There you are.
Thank you.
Just a minute, I'll give you a light.
Thanks.
That's all right. Now, can you tell me just what happened here tonight?
Earl Anderson, that's my friend. Lives 2 houses down. He and I went out after work. We usually do once or twice a week just to have a few beers.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I felt pretty good. Guess I had a couple too many. Earl said it was late and we better be getting home, so he did. I had a little too much to drink, so he drove.
I see. Well, where were you and your friend drinking?
The bar right across from where we work. Earl Anderson and me. A lot of the men go there for a beer right after work.
Mm-hmm. Were there quite a few men from work in there tonight?
Yeah, quite a few. I wonder if the other officer found the phone all right.
Yes, sir, I'm sure he did.
Kind of hard to find sometimes. Wife had it covered with little curtains.
That's all right, Mr. Gray. Just try to take it easy.
They're on their way.
Right. He was telling me that he and his friend Earl Anderson stopped after work. They had a couple of beers, and then the two of them drove on home.
I see.
Is that right, sir?
Yeah, that's right. Well, we got home, and I was feeling pretty good, so I asked Earl to come on in and have a little nightcap.
Mm-hmm. What time was that when you got home?
About 6:30. Earl didn't want to come in because he said Hazel would be upset with me because we were a little late. Anyway, I finally talked him into coming in with me. Was your wife upset? A little bit, yeah. She used to be unhappy when I was late because of dinner. But she was never unreasonable. I didn't make it a habit to stay out. I'm usually late anyhow. I see. I feel terrible. It was terrible. When we got in the house, the first thing Hazel asked me was if I'd looked at the car.
Whose car was that?
It's our car, Dodge Sedan 42. It's parked across the street now.
I wonder if we might check back here a little.
Yeah.
I thought I understood you to say that you felt that you'd had a little too much to drink, so your friend drove, this Earl Anderson?
Yes, but it was his car. I guess I should have made that a little clearer. You see, we take turns driving home, either his or my car. We trade off to fight the traffic, no matter whose car.
I see. Wonder if you'd go on, please.
I didn't know what she meant by asking if I'd seen the car. She said someone had let all the air out of the back tires.
Do you know why anybody'd want to do a thing like that?
No, I had no idea who'd do that to us. Hazel said she wanted to use the car tonight. She had to go to a friend's house to help her do some remodeling or something.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say a word about my being late. I thought the car had kind of taken her mind off it. Told her I'd go out and look and see if I couldn't fix it.
Well, did it strike you as being important that you fix the car right away?
How do you mean?
Well, sir, I was just thinking I wouldn't want to go out in all that rain unless it was something pretty important.
Well, I didn't want to either, but I figured all I'd have to do was put a little air in the tires and then drive it down to the gas station.
I see. Do you want to go on?
Earl said he'd be willing to give me a hand, so we went out to have a look at the car. One look at the tires, and I knew we couldn't fix them. Somebody had cut them with a knife or something. They were beyond repair.
Do you have any idea who did that?
No, I couldn't figure it out. I have no enemies that I can think of. No one that'd do a thing like that.
What did you do then?
Earl and I figured that we'd better take the wheels off, take them down to the garage and buy some new tires. I borrowed Earl's jack, and we took off the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Earl said he'd be glad to take the wheels down and that I'd better go back in the house with Hazel, because she might wonder what we were doing about fixing the car.
I understand.
We talked back and forth for a minute or two, and I finally insisted that I go.
Where did your friend, Earl Anderson, go?
To his house. I dropped him off there.
Where does he live?
Just 2 houses down the street.
Uh-huh.
After I dropped him off, I went down and picked up 2 new tires and 2 tubes, and they mounted them on the wheels for me, and I came back.
About what time was it when you got back here to the house, do you remember?
I don't know, somewhere around 9:15, I guess.
Then what did you do?
I was going to put the wheels on, but I thought I'd better go back in the house and tell Hazel I'd have the car fixed in a minute.
Yes.
And as I walked in the door, I knew something was wrong. It seemed like I could feel it. I called to her. She didn't answer. Went through the house, and when I got to the dining room, I found it.
We'll have to ask you to come downtown with us, sir. You'll have to give us a complete statement on this.
Is that necessary?
Yes, sir, I'm afraid it is.
All right. Wonder if it'd be all right if I called my friend Earl Anderson to go down with me. I haven't told him about this.
We'll notify him.
And this friend of yours, Earl Anderson.
Yeah.
When you spoke with me on the phone, didn't you say something about your best friend saying that he thought that you killed your wife?
Did I say that?
Yes, sir, you did.
I didn't mean it that way.
Well, how did you mean it?
I'd been drinking earlier tonight. Like I told you, I guess I must have gotten you mixed up.
Well, and he didn't say that you killed your wife?
No, he didn't.
Well, I know this has been a strain and a pretty bad shock, Mr. Gray, but you told us that you didn't say anything to Earl Anderson about this. Now, isn't that right?
I'm so sick and upset. Is that what I told you?
Yes, sir. You asked me if it'd be all right if you called your friend. You said you hadn't told him anything about this.
I did. I called him right after I got home. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do.
Then you did mention your wife's death to him?
Yes, sir. The way you men are questioning me, your tone sounds as if you think I might have done this.
No, sir, we're just trying to get the facts straight. Right now, anybody's a suspect.
I didn't do this. I swear to God, I didn't kill my wife.
Do you have any idea who might have wanted to kill Mrs. Gray?
No one. Hazel and I didn't have many friends, no enemies that I know of.
I see.
You men have any ideas at all? Can you tell anything from what you've seen?
We might know a little more after the crime lab checks things over.
As soon as the lab men get here, then you can start on the case.
No, sir, we've already started. 10:15 p.m. We continued to question Leonard Gray, the husband of the dead woman, Hazel Gray. His answers seemed to follow the same general pattern of hazy confusion. Ben and I weighed the possibilities and cause for his evident confusion. He admitted that he'd been drinking earlier that evening, the tremendous shock of the death of his wife, the complete interrogation necessary in the investigation. All these things could prove to be reason enough for Leonard Gray's apparent confusion. They could all be possibilities of pretense as well. We had to be sure. We asked him about relatives and in-laws. He told us that his parents were not living, that his wife's mother and father resided in Los Angeles in the southwest section of the city. He gave us the address. He furnished us with a list of his friends and his acquaintances. He was feeling quite badly, but seemed to want us to continue with the questioning. From time to time, he would add unimportant bits of his story, which he had omitted the first time through. 10:17 p.m. The crime lab crew arrived and went to work. Gray's friend, Earl Anderson, was picked up and brought to the murder house.
Any idea who did this thing?
We're working on it.
There's just one thing I want to make sure of.
Yeah?
You don't suspect Len, do you?
Why do you ask that?
Well, I know how something like this can be. Len and Hazel are wonderful people, very good friends of mine. Just wanted to go on record as being able to vouch for Len. He wouldn't do a thing like that.
Is that what you wanted to tell her?
Well, yes, sir. I've known Len for about 5 years now, going on 6. We work at the same place. Just want to vouch for him, that's all.
Would you know of anyone who might have a reason to kill Mrs. Gray?
Not a soul in the world. Hazel was wonderful to everybody. She didn't have any enemies that I know of. Such a pretty girl.
We know that you're a close friend of Gray's. Maybe you'd be able to answer a couple of questions for us.
Any way I can be of help to you?
Well, how did Mr. and Miss Gray seem to get along? I mean, did they have any arguments that you know of?
Well, I really don't think I should go into their personal life in this thing.
You mean you don't want to answer?
No, sir, it isn't that. It just seems it's really not my place to go into it.
We're going to have to question everybody that the Grays knew, all their friends and acquaintances. Appreciate any help you could give us.
Well, it isn't that I don't want to help. I know that if I answer, it's going to make Len look bad at the moment.
Well, we'll have to get all the facts from one source or another.
Well, they used to have some arguments. Guess you'd find it out from the neighbors anyway.
Were the arguments that bad?
Pretty loud, yes, sir. Oh, I don't mean to imply that Len ever struck Hazel, but she used to get quite put out with him sometimes.
Why? How do you know?
Len likes to go out with the boys. You know, booze it up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
She used to tell him that she wasn't going to put up with it any longer.
He said he never struck her.
Not that I know of, Sergeant.
Did they have these arguments often?
I don't feel right talking this way about Len behind his back.
Well, I know that as his friend, you want to get this thing cleaned up.
Yes, sir, that's right, I do. Yes, they used to have quite a few arguments. Please understand that these differences of theirs may have been loud, but I know Len would never think of hurting Hazel in any way.
I see.
Did you find out who sliced the tires on Len's car?
We're checking on it.
Wonder if that couldn't have some bearing on this.
Yeah, possibly. Anderson, we'd like to have you go back to the time you and Mr. Gray got home. Just tell us exactly what happened with you. Will you excuse me for a minute?
Sure.
Friday, see you a minute.
Right, Harris. I'll be right back.
Okay. We're just about through. It's all photoed. Lifted some prints. Coroner's ready to take the body, okay?
Yeah, it's all right. Get anything besides the prints?
Yeah, a small piece of blue cloth, white button attached. Looks like it was ripped off a shirt.
Where'd they find it?
Near the body. We'll see you fellas back at the office, huh?
Yeah, okay, Harris. Thank you.
I was just telling your partner, Sergeant, while you were out of the room.
Yes, sir.
In this kind of a case, if it turns out to be murder, you have to know the whereabouts of everyone concerned, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
I suppose Len told you about his going down to get the tires fixed on his car.
Yeah, he did.
Did he tell you that I was at home during that time?
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I don't mean to try to tell you your business or anything like that, but isn't that the sort of information you have to have?
Yeah, that's right.
Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Yes, sir. Who killed Hazel Gray?
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos, the finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavors.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
10:30 p.m. Tuesday, January 9th. Leonard Gray, the husband of the murdered woman, and Earl Anderson, his friend, were taken downtown to homicide for further investigation. Complete statements were taken from both men. We checked them through R&I. No record on either one. We had all prowlers and burglary calls in the vicinity of the murder house rechecked. Units working the area where the murder had occurred had picked up 2 possible suspects loitering in the neighborhood, but they were eliminated almost immediately. All of the neighbors, friends, and relatives of Mr. and Ms. Gray were contacted and questioned. No leads. All their stories tallied almost exactly with that of Earl Anderson. The Grays had been known to argue, quite frequently. The arguments were loud, but no one could say that they ever showed any physical violence toward one another. It was the opinion of the relatives and in-laws that Leonard Gray drank too much. Earl Anderson, his friend, was checked and found to be a completely reliable man. We talked with the repairman at the garage where Gray had his tires exchanged. His story was correct in every detail. Earl Anderson's wife was checked. She vouched for the Grays as well as her husband. Ben and I talked with Captain Steed for an hour. 1:45 a.m.
Well, Skipper seems to feel like I do about it.
Yeah, the husband, Gray, huh?
Sure looks that way, doesn't it? We've been over that story 3 times with him, and we get 3 different versions.
Yeah, I know.
He's completely sober now. He should be able to tell a straight story. No, I don't know, Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm not completely satisfied. As far as that goes, the captain isn't either. You heard him. I'll admit Gray looks bad right now.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I'm gone.
All right.
Homicide, Romero. Yeah, Edwards. No, Joe's right here. You want to talk with him? Oh, fine, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Bob. Georgia Juvenile.
Yeah?
Picked up a couple of kids. They confessed to slashing the Gray's tires.
Well, that clears that up. Didn't seem to figure in anyway. Did it to you?
No. Somebody did it to draw Gray out of the house.
Well, it's cutting it pretty thin, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the time?
10 minutes to 2.
Guess I better call Leighton Print, see what they got.
Okay. Did Edwards say that they were going to hold those juveniles for us?
Yeah, I said they were bringing them down here for interrogation.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Hi, Mac. Romero. Yeah. Uh-huh, good. Yeah, right, thanks. Yeah. Got something.
What'd he say?
One of the prints they left it out there is a palm print. McLaughlin says it'll work for elimination. And something else.
Yeah.
The print was pressed in spots of blood.
The killer of Hazel Gray had left behind him a clue to his identity about which there could be no mistake. His palm print. The prints of the dead woman, Hazel Gray, were checked and eliminated. They weren't hers. 2:40 a.m. Leonard Gray and his friend Earl Anderson were taken down and fingerprinted. Their palm prints were also taken. Both men were returned to the interrogation room.
Sergeant, why'd we have to be fingerprinted?
Just routine.
Just like I was telling you, Sergeant, Friday.
What's that?
Len and I have been suspects all along, haven't we?
Well, it's just a matter of elimination. Anybody involved in any way has to be checked out.
Didn't the fellow down at the garage verify Len's story?
Yes, sir, he did.
It's the truth. I wouldn't lie at a time like this.
I don't believe that anybody thinks you're lying, Len. It's just they have to be sure.
That's right.
Again. Interrogation room. This is Romero. Oh, you're right. Okay, right away. Crime lab, Joe. Pinker says he and Jones would like to see one of us right away.
All right, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sergeant, was there really any specific reason for us being fingerprinted?
Well, we already told you. It's just routine.
Wouldn't it be perfectly in line to find Len's fingerprints around his own house?
Well, yes, it would.
Yours could be there, too, Earl.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm over at their house a great deal of the time.
Yeah, we know. You mentioned that.
Makes you feel kind of funny getting fingerprinted.
Doesn't make any difference what I have to go through if you can find who did this thing.
I feel the same way, Len. Think you're any closer to knowing who did it?
Well, possibly. You men have had a little time to think this over. Do either of you have anything to add to your story? Maybe some small detail you may have overlooked?
I've been thinking about it all night. I can't think of anything I haven't already told you.
Mm-hmm. You, Mr. Anderson?
Hmm?
Is there anything that you might have forgotten to tell us?
Sorry, I was just thinking.
Yes, sir.
There couldn't have been anyone Hazel knew, could there, Len?
How do you mean?
Well, somebody maybe from her past, somebody she might not have told you about.
I don't see how that could be possible. You people checked her father and mother, didn't you?
Yes, sir, we did.
Well, that eliminates that possibility. Haven't you found any way at all of telling who it was that killed Hazel?
Yeah, we have.
Well, I think that Len here's entitled to know. I'd be glad to leave the room if you want to talk to him alone.
No, sir, that's not necessary. When we work it out, you'll both be told about it.
If there's something definite, you'd tell me, wouldn't you? I think Earl's right. I'm entitled to know.
Well, sir, we're assigned to the investigation, Mr. Gray, and we're doing everything that we can to get to the bottom of it.
Sergeant Len and I think you men know a great deal more than you've been telling him. His wife was a victim. It's his right to know how the investigation's going, isn't it?
Well, I told you before, whatever he should know, we'll tell him. Anything that we withhold from him is done for a good reason.
Joe, want to take a look at this?
Yeah, thanks.
Uh-huh. Here's a report on it.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. That shirt belong to either of you men?
It's not mine.
No, why? What's it mean?
I get it. Interrogation room Friday. Yadi. Mm-hmm. Right, thank you.
What about that shirt, Sergeant? What's it mean?
This button here, little piece of cloth attached. It's found with the body. You notice the front of the shirt here? Button ripped off? See how it matches?
Yeah. It's not my shirt.
It was found in your house.
I never saw it before. It's not mine.
The palm print was.
What?
The print of your palm. Blood stains on it. Was found near the body.
What's he talking about, Earl? What's he mean?
I killed Hazel.
What?
I killed Hazel.
Why?
Because I loved her. I think I loved her more than you did.
You don't kill someone because you love them.
You do if you love them enough.
You ready to give us a statement, Anderson?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I can't believe all this. I ought to kill you.
All right, Gray. Hold it.
I can't believe it. My best friend.
I wasn't your best friend.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, let me tell you how to size up king-size cigarettes. First, take a Fatima, and then any other king-size cigarette. Side by side, the two may seem to look alike, but they're not, because no other king-size cigarette has Fatima quality. That's right. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that starts with a blend of the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos and follows up with extra mildness, a better flavor and aroma. Now, if you haven't tried Fatimas yet, take my advice. Buy a pack. Compare Fatima. You'll find, just as I have, that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Earl Taylor Anderson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
At home and overseas, in camps, hospitals, and military installations, and in battle areas, Red Cross personnel work for the welfare, recreation, and morale of those who defend the nation. Today, Red Cross is expanding these services to keep pace with the rapid growth of our nation's defense forces. Your support of Red Cross makes this expansion possible. Remember, when you give to the Red Cross, your gift is a lift to our fighting men.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Our thanks to Quick Magazine for this week's salute to Dragnet's Jack Webb. Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Hear a gold smuggling case on Counter Spy next over most NBC stations.